Hello, we are here at the Golden Temple today. It's December 1st, 2019, and today we're covering mood support and all the supplements we carry that are going to help boost mood, regulate mood. We're going to briefly jump into just a brief neurochemistry lesson on the neurotransmitters involved in mood, appetite, learning, and then the hormones that cause stress. Okay. I think it's important to say that the first thing we can offer people when they come in looking for anything regarding mood support is just our encouragement. It does take a lot to get up and do something about it or ask for help. And I chose mood support because I hear that probably the most out of everything. So serotonin, it regulates all of your appetites while you're eating. It plays a really big role in learning and memory. Acetylcholine as well, those two go hand in hand. That's memory, learning, focus, attention. Dopamine, that's our satiety hormone. Satiety, like being satisfied. And it also regulates our habits, a lot of our habits. Sometimes people who are addicts have fluctuating dopamine levels. GABA. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So there are two main ones that help regulate our inhibitions and our excitatory neurons. The other one is glutamate, keeps us awake and alert, but GABA is the one that slows nerve impulses, which is good for some people whose brain just moves too fast for them. So hormones, they're secreted by the endocrine system. We got glands in our head, throat, kidneys, reproductive systems. It's the only organ system that isn't actually connected by organs. It uses the circulatory system for distribution and maintenance. So, let's see, cortisol, that's the stress hormone. That's the biggest one. It takes a little while for your brain to get cortisol into the bloodstream. So first, messages have to be sent from your brain to the hypothalamus, to the kidneys, and then you've got cortisol. And cortisol is good for us. It does keep us awake and alert. It heightens our heart rate, keeps us in survival mode. But sometimes people who live really stressful lives have constant levels of heightened cortisol, which can be really bad for a lot of things. Epinephrine and norepinephrine, or adrenaline, those come into play when we have a fight or flight sort of stimulus, or when we're under extreme stress. Those also keep us alive. They're great, but in moderation, in a healthy balance. So, I think there are three main endocrine glands that really help to regulate stress and our response to it. It's called the HPA axis. That stands for hypothalamus, amygdala, and the pituitary gland. Basically, they regulate stress hormone distribution and also tell us to stop or slow down the stress hormone distribution. So, let's see. Adaptogens as well. I should probably write that down. So adaptogens, I've all heard that they help our body better adapt to stress. That's where they get their name from. And it's true, and they do that by helping the HPA axis regulate itself, or tell it to stop when it needs to stop, and also soften the periods between. A lot of times if you've got too much cortisol for a long period of time, you get adrenal burnout, and so you're fatigued, you can't concentrate, you're irritable. And then let's see, adaptogens and endorphins. Endorphins are produced naturally in the body by a bunch of different things: exercise, eating chocolate, hot peppers, foods you like. They bond to the opioid receptors in our brain, which decrease feelings of discomfort and increase feelings of well-being. So I guess let's move on to the supplements we have that all deal with all of these. got velvet bean, which is extracted, okay, so it's from the, I can't pronounce its genus species name, but it's a bean. And basically it has L-dopa in it, which is a precursor to dopamine that we just talked about. It's got GABA in it as well. Let's see. No, not this one. Just kidding. This is just St. John's wort and ginkgo, which helps to oxygenate tissues, including the brain. It can also, it's an antioxidant, so it protects our brain and central nervous system from tissue degradation, various things. It's good for people with Alzheimer's, dementia.
St. John's wort.
St. John's wort.
This formula of St. John's wort.
Yes, yes. It comes with L-tyrosine, D-L-phenylalanine. Those are both amino acids. Tyrosine is one of the most basic amino acids. It constitutes most proteins in our body.
Is that the Solare?
This is
Yes, this is the Solare St. John's wort. Let you.
The main thing would be for Alzheimer's, dementia.
That's one of them because it's got the ginkgo in it. Let's see. This one, St. John's wort. I think this is probably best for people who deal with just low-grade depression because it will boost dopamine levels and also Alzheimer's and dementia as well because of the ginkgo and the, it's got 5-hydroxytryptophan, 5-HTP. That's a constituent of serotonin that we also talked about. So it'll boost dopamine and serotonin levels. So the St. John's Positive Thoughts by Source Naturals also uses St. John's wort. And it's got a bunch of other things in it too as well. I know it's got a B complex, which is really important. The B vitamins, they regulate nerves, skin, eyes, hair, liver, gastrointestinal muscles, mood, in turn. And they all work together. Do it.
St. John's wort best for depression.
Yeah, it's gonna be, one thing that's really good for
Ginkgo
depression.
best for the dementia and
Yeah.
the
Yeah, so it's got, this one's gonna be good if they're not taking a multivitamin. Something I always like to ask is, are you taking a multivitamin? Because sometimes depression, fatigue, those can be caused by just basic mineral deficiencies or vitamin deficiencies. And the American diet really does not support getting all of our nutrients in a day. So multivitamin, always a good place to start. B complex especially. People like the B vitamins, but they always work best together. They work hand in hand with one another. They help the absorption of the other B vitamins, and the B vitamins also have ingredients in them that produce hormones and help make neurotransmitters. We need those every day, the B vitamins. Okay, it's also got some minerals. It's a good one. And this is the one that has GABA in it. So it's got 500 milligrams of GABA. And GABA, it's been a topic of a lot of debate. So in the brain, we produce it naturally to slow the transmission of nerve impulses to reduce anxiety, panic. But when we give our body GABA, and we do it a lot over and over consistently, it's like it forgets how to make its own, or those engines haven't been used. So that production slows since we're constantly giving it GABA. And then if you're to stop immediately, there's just an influx of glutamate, which is the excitatory neuron. So glutamate and GABA, it's the awake and alert and calm and relaxed. And so when we have given our brain a lot of GABA constantly and stop, there's an influx of the glutamate, and it can make us feel panicked, restless, anxious, depressed, irritable. So GABA is one I always like to warn people about. So this is good for if people have not constant depression, but if they need just an as needed sort of boost.
Are people using it for sleep?
Yes, GABA it will relax you, can make the transition between sleep states a lot easier. It's helpful for people with insomnia. So, all right, so this one has the St. John's wort, GABA, and essentially a multivitamin in it because it's got vitamin C, entire B complex, and calcium, magnesium, zinc, manganese, and sodium. So a few minerals. The Solare Mood Blend. This is one I like to go to a lot. So it's got a lot of stuff that one had in it as well. It doesn't say it, but it's got kelp, which has a lot of the B vitamins and minerals. Iodine as well. Let's see. The St. John's wort, the velvet bean, which is the precursor, has precursors to dopamine. Let's see. And a few adaptogenic herbs. Let's see. Yeah, so this one is a lot, really similar to the St. John's Positive Thoughts, but it does not have GABA, and it's completely herbal based. Solare even makes their capsules out of pine cellulose, so I like to tell people that. So this one, people are dealing with moderate stress constantly. This is a really good one. It's just ashwagandha and rhodiola. Those are two really powerful adaptogenic herbs. Like we said, those help our body better adapt to stress by telling our body when we need the stress hormones and telling it to stop when we don't. And so it'll stave off fatigue, increase concentration, boost stamina. This is a really good one. Let's see. And yeah, it's just the ashwagandha and rhodiola. Nothing else in that.
We see a close-up of that.
Yes. Made by Terry Naturally. He's got a lot of good chemists on his team. They make a lot of really great pamphlets that correspond to a lot of their products that are really informative, kind of paint a whole picture of the what's going on in the brain when these chemicals enter our body.
So if someone comes in complaining of anxiety and stress, which is your favorite one to recommend?
Anxiety and stress. I would probably ask how often.
All the
Are you
time.
all the time?
They're stressed all the time and they're anxious.
Yeah, okay. Two things. CBD, for one. It's newly legal here in Alabama. I think it's been, what, like a year or so?
6 months or a year.
Yeah, so we have an endocannabinoid system that runs through us. We talked about this on our very first lesson that we did here at Golden Temple. It's said that our endocannabinoid receptors in our body outnumber any other neuromodulatory receptors. And it's not even unique to humans. It's all plants, animals, all have cannabinoid receptors. Almost like these plants were made to interact with us, or our body is compatible with them. It plays a role in pain, memory, mood, sleep, so appetite, anxiety and stress, metabolic function, reproductive function, and let's see. Yeah, so CBD is a really good one, and it helps to, in a nutshell, maintain bodily homeostasis. So that's really good. It can also help people with insomnia and depression. It's an anti-inflammatory and inflammation. So we need a certain level of inflammation to keep some bodily processes going, like the lining of our intestines and stomach. But most of the inflammation, or a lot of different types of inflammation, are really harmful for our tissues, especially our lungs, our brain, our heart. That's called oxidative stress, I guess, inflammation. So CBD is an anti-inflammatory, and we have receptors all over our body, and CBD helps to calm and bring balance into the body, into all of those systems. And then, so the CBD and probably an adaptogenic blend, which will help better adapt to stress. So either this Adaptra or the Mood Blend. And something we always have to ask people when they come in asking about mood support is, are you taking an antidepressant? Because some of these we cannot recommend to people who are taking SSRIs, that's selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, because some of these carry the precursors to serotonin, the 5-HTP. Anything with 5-HTP in it, we cannot recommend for anyone on an SSRI because our body can have too much serotonin in its system, and it leads to a thing called serotonin sickness or serotonin toxicity, which can lead to mania and hallucinations in high amounts. So it's something really good to remember. Always ask them if they're taking an antidepressant. They're not, ask them if they're taking a multivitamin.
Do you know anything about adaptogens and high blood pressure?
I think they will, some of them will lower blood pressure.
Some of them will raise it.
Some of them will raise it as well.
Yeah. So do you know how to find out which ones
I,
are safe?
yes. We have a lot of reference books on the shelves back there, the Herb Bible, the Prescription for Nutritional Healing. So if, yes, that's another good thing to point out too, is ask them if they're taking any blood pressure medication. A lot of times people will forget to tell us that they are taking blood pressure medications or that they're a diabetic. Those are two of the biggest variables that limit what we can suggest for them. So yes, if you are talking with someone who's on blood pressure medication and wants to know what they can take, always consult the Herb Bible or the Prescription for Nutritional Healing, just to make sure it won't interact with their blood pressure. Let's move on to the Sunny Mood. This is Irwin Naturals. Right now we've got a lot of their products, or a lot of their mood lifting products. So we've got Sunny Mood with 5-HTP, and this is a good one to recommend if they're taking an SSRI, because it does not have the 5-HTP. So if they are not taking one, this is fine. If they are, suggest this one without the 5-HTP. Same with CBD and CBD plus Sunny Mood. It's another good one. Okay, it's got a bunch of adaptogenic herbs, fish oil, omega-3s are really good for our brain. Let's see. Vitamin D, magnesium, chromium, and all of Irwin Naturals products come with BioPerine. It's a registered blend. It's just piperine. Piperine is the element in peppers and things that has the strongest antioxidant, anti-inflammatory capability. And so BioPerine is just black pepper concentrate or piperine concentrate. So all of Irwin Naturals products come with piperine or BioPerine, which is the name of their extract.
It's made from pepper?
Yes, extracted from peppers.
For peppers or black pepper?
I'm not sure.
Because, you know, bell peppers and
Oh, right.
that's a different family from that.
Black
I
pepper.
think it's black pepper.
Yes. No, it
And
absolutely
it's supposed
is.
to help with inflammation as well as assimilation?
Yes, yeah, it will allow our body to absorb higher quantities of nutrients, assimilate higher quantities, and will relieve inflammation. A really cool story, just not really relevant, but my old chemistry teacher had a friend who worked in a lab in a hospital, and when anything is removed from the body, anything, it's sent through this lab and just scanned for abnormalities, cancer cells, anything like that. And he told us that over and over again, this man who is dissecting all these things, mostly the appendix, because that's something that's really commonly removed, he would always come across two things. It was pockets of black pepper and pockets of keratin from people biting their fingernails.
Interesting.
Yeah,
What about the black pepper though? How do they explain that?
I have no idea. I don't think, I didn't even really know that the appendix played a role like that in just taking things that can't be digested.
Yeah, it collects the fingernails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pockets of keratin and black pepper in the appendix. Who knew?
Wow.
Yeah. And that might go hand in hand with why it needed to be removed. Yeah.
Yeah. Full of fingernails.
Yeah. Yeah, it would definitely cause some problems. Alright. So this Stress Defy, It's a lot like the Sunny Mood as well. It has GABA in it also. I think it's a lower quantity. So the other one we talked about, the St. John's Positive Thoughts, I believe. Let's see. So it has 500 milligrams of GABA. This has 60. So it's not going to be nearly as, I don't want to say harmful long term, but it won't do much in offsetting your natural GABA glutamate balance. So SAM-E, this is another really good one for people with Alzheimer's and things. I know it produces, the SAM-E is a constituent of dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Let's see. Yeah, so mood and brain function, I think that's all it's got in it. Yes, and this one also has been known to be really helpful along with antidepressants. So if they are taking one and don't really find one they like, this one can yield better benefits along with antidepressants, and it's safe to take with SSRIs and MAOIs. Okay. So the Huperzine A. We've also got another one. It's called Hoop A. It's made by Solaray. It looks a lot like this one. Didn't pull it out though, because it's a pretty brief one. All right. So it's extracted from Chinese moss, the Huperzine A. Yeah, so it inhibits the enzymes that tear away acetylcholine. That's the one that helps memory, focus, learning. So this is really good for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. A lot of times their acetylcholine is off balance or not in harmony with the other neurotransmitters, and this will stop the enzyme that breaks down acetylcholine. And the last one, Dopamine. Also has the L-Dopa from the Velvet Bean, which is a precursor to dopamine. Safe for people with SSRIs, on SSRIs. And yeah, that's all it is. It's just dopamine, just the L-Dopa. Okay. So my favorite ones. Okay. Yeah, so this has graphonia in it. Graphonia is what we get 5-HTP from. That's how we extract it from the graphonia plant. So this is a good one, this mood blend. It also comes with adaptogenic herbs, that kelp that has a lot of B vitamins and minerals. So this is a really composite, easy one. Solaray, like I said, their farm to shelf concept is pretty streamlined. They even make their capsules out of pine cellulose. So this is always a great option. And then the Sunny Mood with 5-HTP. It's also got adaptogenic herbs, let's see, and the bioperine, some minerals. This one has iron in it as well. That's something we need to be wary of. If they are taking a multivitamin with iron, they just need to make sure they aren't crossing their daily limit, or the daily recommended value. So, all right, so this one, again with the 5-HTP, is not for people who are on SSRIs, but this CBD Sunny Mood and the Sunny Mood right there are fine for them. Yeah, and if they're looking for herbal remedies, adaptogenic herbs, we carry all of these herbs that are in here in our bulk herbs section. If they want to make their own teas, come up with their own concoction, do their own research, that's always an option. And then, again, I think we should always encourage people when they come in looking for something to brighten their mood. A lot of times, depression is can be caused by mineral and vitamin deficiencies, your circumstances. I think the biggest variable is just our habits, and that includes diet. It's the big one, but not many people are going to come in asking for a whole new regimen. They want something that will help them.
Hydration is another
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah, yes, our diet, hydration, sleep and exercise. Sleep is a big one. Yeah, who knew? You're retired and you're like really irritable and can't focus, can't concentrate. Our body needs sleep, quality sleep, and regular sleep every day.
That makes a good segue into sleep. What about insomnia, sleep, and better sleep?
Yeah, so tryptophan is it's the element in turkey that causes melatonin synthesis. Melatonin is actually naturally secreted by the pineal gland as the sun goes down. So our body naturally will increase melatonin production as the day goes on, which is why TV lights, phone screens, those interfere with our natural production of melatonin, which would normally happen as it gets dark, to put us in a state where we are ready to rest. The tryptophan, that is a component of melatonin. Let's see, the tryptophan is really good. The GABA, GABA is good for occasional insomnia, because if you continually give your body GABA and then stop, sometimes the repercussions can be harmful. People have had seizures, can require hospitalization, and we don't want that. Let's see, melatonin, of course. So yeah, if you're in a workplace where you're looking at screens all day and you have insomnia, melatonin is a good one, because it might just be that your body isn't producing enough naturally.
So
What
like
else?
lights and stuff affect?
Yeah, the blue light. So as the sun goes down, our pineal gland secretes melatonin and makes us restful. So when we're looking at screens, it's almost like we're tricking that natural circadian rhythm into not producing enough melatonin to make us tired enough to go to bed.
So watching TV to go to bed
It's not, no. I mean, some people can do it. Some people do it every night, but it will not allow your body to produce adequate amounts of
It's
melatonin.
against nature.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think it's so cool. Yeah, just as the sun goes down naturally, we start secreting melatonin, and it makes us tired. So yeah, phone screens, blue lights, those things can stop that, keep us awake, keep us from getting quality sleep. CBD is another one. CBD does not make you drowsy, but it will make the conditions such that when you lie down, it's much easier to move into sleep. So let's see. I think we're gonna do sleep today. Let's do it. So tryptophan, GABA for occasional insomnia, CBD. I mean, not only insomnia, but CBD is good for most things in the body, most of everything. Let's see. I think that might be all we've got in the sleep section. It's probably, there's some homeopathic remedies, the Calms Forte, you know that one. I use that one for occasional sleeplessness. I found it to work. Not everyone does, everyone's different.
Also minerals. If the body's deficient in calcium, magnesium, then
Yeah,
it's hard for us to fall asleep.
Right, yeah, it's hard for our muscles to relax, hard for our brain to relax.
And so there are herbs also. Valerian is what I have used for the mind that just keeps running around. And on the other hand, I've taken kava, and the mind kept running and the body couldn't move.
Oh man. Yeah, kava. I think that actually is in one. So the kava is in the Happy Camper, the one that we're currently out of. It's made by Natural Balance. Moving back into mood support briefly. It has kava in it, which is good for. That one is good for occasional irritability, anxiety, occasional sleeplessness. Because kava will increase GABA production, and is also it has a mode of action really similar to alcohol, and over time it's just as harmful for the liver.
There's different levels of sleep. There's the deep sleep where you dreamless sleep, which is supposed to be your most restored in.
Yeah.
And then there's dream sleep, and then there's people that come in occasionally and saying they're having vivid dreams that are, that are disturbing and exhausting. And you have any ideas on that?
So, oh man, that's a big one.
There's cell salt for that.
Okay.
For vivid
For,
dreams?
Yes, vivid dreams, anxious. And so
mhm.
I occasionally encourage Lisa to keep that homeopathic cell salt book available.
Yeah.
The Astroflow.
I will. Homeopathic cell salt. That?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've probably seen the cell salt on the body shop.
Mhm.
They just trigger change.
Yeah, yeah. And the homeopathics, they're taken under the tongue. They bypass all digestion. We have these fluffy blood vessels that are really close to the surface right here. We also have cannabinoid receptors right there. So taken orally, right under the tongue, it's immediately into the bloodstream. It's a really effective way, especially for sleep. Most people, when they take sleep medication, want to be asleep then. So that's that's the more immediate one. So we're on the Happy Camper, which we're out of right now. It's in a yellow box. It's made by Natural Balance. It has kava kava in it, so it's good for occasional sleeplessness, irritability, anxiety. It also has an adaptogenic herb proprietary blend in it. So the dreams, for vivid dreams, that one. I know people who sometimes take B complex at night end up having really, really vivid dreams. And we don't exactly know the purpose of dreams. I think the best running theory is that it helps us to simulate an environment in which we can sort of practice life. But a lot of people's dreams don't follow that formula. They can be really nonsensical, emotionally driven, and scary sometimes.
Yogically, we say it's a cleansing of the subconscious.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, I like to look at my dreams as my subconscious telling me something about myself, or where my fears come from, what I need to be working more on, things like that.
There's been studies where they prevented people from dreaming. You can tell when someone's dreaming because of rapid eye movement.
Right.
So they've done studies where they would not allow someone when they were sleeping to go into a dream state.
Oh yeah, waking them up
Waking them
before
up
REM
when
every
they-
time.
When they started to have
Uh-huh.
rapid eye movements, and people went crazy.
Yeah, they were exhausted.
Not exhausted, psychotic.
Oh man. Okay.
They went
Yeah.
crazy after a while. Apparently, the dreaming has a beneficial aspect.
I definitely think so. And yes, the dreamless sleep, that is where we get good quality sleep, but also the transitions between sleep states. I think the beta waves are when we're awake and alert. Alpha waves, they slow down a little bit as we get drowsy. Delta waves, or called big something waves, long something waves. Those and the transition states between them is where our brain converts everything that it's learned for the day to long term. So that's when our brain is communicating, storing away information, forgetting things even. So that plays a big role in just memory, learning, mood. Let's see.
Some people use stones and also essential oils for sleep.
Yeah.
I use lavender, and I have a bowl of crystals that are good for, they help with like vivid dreaming, certain ones. Unakite is one that helps you get restful sleep.
Huh.
And
That's a stone.
yeah,
How do you spell that?
UNA.
Unakite,
Do we sell it here?
Mm-hmm.
we do.
What do you just wear it?
I put it in a bowl by the bed or under the pillow. But lavender behind the ears helps with
Oil?
Yeah.
getting ready to sleep. Lavender oil.
Yeah, and aromatherapy is always a good option, even especially in mood support. It said that our nose can identify more smells than our eyes can see color, which isn't too surprising because the amount of color that our light can see is a really, really tiny sliver on the electromagnetic spectrum. But our sense of smell is most closely associated with memory as well, memory and emotions. And so these herbs that have very relaxing qualities, you can also get the benefits of them through aromatherapy or diffusing it while you sleep. Sometimes I've smelled frankincense one time and I got dizzy. So it does affect us heavily. You know, you can smell something and it takes you right back to a place in time, a very vivid memory.
I heard this somewhere that if you're knocked unconscious, your first sense that comes back is smell.
Interesting. Huh.
Before sight, before hearing, before feel, smell.
Wow. Did not know that. That's neat. Yeah. And our smell doesn't even compare to, the smell of a dog or something. It knows what they're sensing. That's like one of their most powerful sensory organs.
I heard that a dog can smell one drop of blood in a swimming pool
My goodness.
and determine who it belongs to.
That's crazy.
One drop of blood in a swimming pool.
That is wild. But yeah, wow. Amazing. We're all given different skills. Rats too, I know, have a really great sense of smell. And they hate the smell of peppermint. So if you have rats, get some cotton balls, put some peppermint on it. They hate it.
Really?
Can't stand it. Yeah, they have a sense of smell that rivals dogs.
I heard bears.
That would not surprise me. Yeah. Probably smell honey for miles.
You know what's interesting is that as humans and many other species spend maybe a third or a quarter of their life sleeping.
Hmm.
You think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think all mammals sleep. I think they do. Part of what makes you a mammal.
Yeah.
I think birds sleep too. though.
Birds do sleep.
And they're not
Birds do
mammals.
sleep. Yeah, and they've mapped the brains of birds while they're sleeping. Their brain waves, the same exact ones that are happening while they're sleeping or dreaming, are the same exact ones that happen as they sing. So it's almost like they're singing or they're dreaming about their own bird songs, which I think is really sweet. I got a little bit off topic there, but another cool thing too is the endocrine system, the one in charge of hormone distribution and regulation, lines up exactly with our chakra system, the 7 energy currents, vortexes. Coincidence? Who knows? Let's see. I think that if no one has any other questions, comments.
Cortisol.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone.
I know a lot of people have too much of it and then they get depleted of it and the body gets all stressed out.
Right.
We can that's the best supplement we have here to help people with their cortisol balance.
So the cortisol, that has to do, again, with the HPA axis. That includes 3 glands in the endocrine system that modulate stress and our stress response. It's the amygdala, which identifies fears. It's the one involved in our fight or flight responses. Our hypothalamus, which is it's like the command center. And then the adrenals, which secrete adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol, among some others. So yeah, cortisol takes a moment for your brain to tell the hypothalamus to tell the kidneys to secrete it. But yeah, a lot of people do have high levels for a long period of time, and it leads to adrenal burnout. So you can't concentrate, you're fatigued, you're stressed.
Well, I think we must have some supplements to help with that.
Definitely, yeah. So that HPA axis, the one that helps regulate these 3.
Do you have it here?
Yes, let's see. So this mood blend, this adaptogenic herbs. their main function is to help the HPA axis do its job correctly, not give our body stress hormones when it's not supposed to, and give us them when we need them. And so the adaptogenic herbs, that's their main function, is to regulate the HPA axis, or to help it do its job properly. So it can stave off that adrenal burnout, chronic fatigue. These are good ones. So
What's that one again, the solar?
yes, so this is the Solaray Mood Blend. It's got the St. John's wort, it's got the Griffonia, which is where we get 5-HTP from, which creates serotonin. And then go to Cola, which is a calming adaptogenic herb, butternut, ginger, which is also an antioxidant, and kelp, which has some of the B vitamins and minerals. So this is a composite one, and then this Adaptra and Rhodiola with ashwagandha and rhodiola. Those are both adaptogenic herbs. I believe ashwagandha also helps to boost circulation. So these, and there's no moment where you say, oh, that's the adaptogens kicking in. It just better helps us adapt in our environment and be able to go about our day without getting tired, without losing focus, without getting irritable. Yeah, so those for the cortisol, an adaptogenic herb blend is going to be the best for cortisol specifically. Any other questions? Okay, I guess that's it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very much.